OneUI 4.1 has been released for the Galaxy Z Flip 3, so I put my sim back in it, see what we had going on in terms of performance and all the rest of it. A few things that I really enjoyed that they added, and one major thing that I'm really disappointed about. But let's talk about performance first off. Can you expect the same performance that you had pre-update? And the answer to that is yes. The apps are fine. Nothing is completely broken on it. It's snappy. The FPS is fine. The Bluetooth is fine. The connectivity, all your apps are going to open up. No problem whatsoever. I didn't really notice any difference in terms of performance, which is good because sometimes you get an update, things get a little slower, something goes wrong, there's lag introduced, there's FPS issues, all kinds of stuff. So I didn't notice any of that with this particular update. There are some things that I did like that they added. Smart widgets is cool. I mean, you may not use it. I've been using them since iOS 15 came out. Really neat. If you're into customizing your widgets, have your home page, your secondary page be all these widgets with cycling data and all the rest of it and kind of slides and whatnot. That's really neat for you. So you get kind of a different information flow. You get to see different stuff each time you go to that particular widget, which is pretty neat. You have some different options there if you really want to customize and have different options and sliders and stuff, which is pretty neat. I do like the fact that they added some sliders for left and right balance to audio, which is good. If you have an older set of headphones that you just love that's just a little bit off, or if you have hearing issues or something, you could go ahead and kind of customize which ear and which side of the stereo that the noise is coming out of, which is quite nice. If you're an Instagram or Snapchat user, if you're big into that, then you're really going to love 4.1 because they open up the availability of those additional lenses for Snapchat and Instagram, which opens up the versatility of your camera system depending on how many lenses you have. You got different filters, different shots, different stuff that you could take and kind of open up your creativity there, which is we're all about Snapchat, clearly not Steve Licious Tech. But that's just if you're a creator on Instagram and you're a brand or something or content, you get to do more stuff there, which is pretty cool. One thing that I think is neat, that's not even really going to affect this device because it has 8 gigs of RAM, is RAM Plus. So they've had this since Android 12 came out with OneUI 4.0, where they gave you 4 gigs of virtual memory. Now, you get to choose between 2 gigs and 8 gigs of virtual memory. I know my 90s children are cringing, me included, when you hear virtual memory, but trust me, it's not like back in the day where you had your nice, fast, solid-state RAM that was then offloading to these horribly slow, platter, regular, old hard drives that you were at the mercy of the incredibly slow read and write speeds compared to your solid-state memory. So nothing like that anymore. Now, you are at the mercy of whatever storage standard that you have in your phone. Some storage is faster than others, but it's all solid state. It's still a heck of a lot faster than it was back in the day, and certainly faster than the programs, the RAM management just completely zeroing out a particular program and you having to load it back up. Now, this works, I think, for their budget offerings. So if you're getting 3 and 4 gigs of RAM base on your model, and you go ahead and you put in 4 or 6 or something like that, I think that's going to improve your overall experience. It certainly doesn't hurt because people say, oh, I don't use that much RAM. Or, the programs, it's fine. I only have a couple programs open at once. It's not just your programs, even though a lot of them could be power hungry, or RAM hungry rather, memory hungry. It's the entire OS experience. As you go through home screens, as you scroll through settings, menus, different app grids, that's all stuff that Android can cache into RAM to make your experience that much better, where it doesn't have to keep pulling it up over and over and over again and repopulating that. So if anything that helps out with RAM, even if it's virtual RAM, it's a touch slower than you'd want it to be, even if it just caches what you got going on in your home screen, it's going to improve the overall experience of your device. So I think because you got 8 gigs of RAM on here, 12 gigs of RAM on the Ultra, you're not going to really see it on the flagship devices. I think on their mid-range and budget devices, that really can help out. One major thing though, and this is where I need help, reach out in the comment section below. Battery life got nuked back down to what it was when the device first came out. Horrible. 3.5 hours, just really brutal. And the 3.5 hours is a guesstimation because that's just the way it feels and what I was kind of clocking it. Because I go into my battery app now, see how it has 1 minute used? That's a lie. You could go through here, TikTok, whatever. It's a lie. My battery app is now broken as well. So they broke the battery app and they broke battery life. I've reset the phone. I haven't done a factory reset because I don't think that should be necessary. I'll do one if I have to test it out. But I wanted to put this out there first to you guys and say, hey, is anyone else noticing a significant reduction in their battery life? Because I understand when the device first came out, we were looking at 3.5 hours. And I told people as it went along, as we crept back up to 4 hours, that we were okay. Because this wasn't the device that you got to go ahead and go screen on time crazy. This was the device you got to kind of disconnect a little bit. It was kind of a dumb phone when you didn't want a smartphone, and it was a smartphone when you needed it. You need to take that important picture or that photo or whatever you need to get on Facebook for your family stuff, Twitter. You want all that stuff, but you also want to be able to disconnect it and not have that incentive or that enticement to just be constantly refreshing your social media feeds or whatever. It happens to be constantly checking your email. It had to be an effort, right? It had to be something you say, you know what? I'm going to open up this phone and look at whatever I have to look at. It kind of cut out the nonsense ones, the nonsense refreshes. So that was fine when we got up to 4 hours, 3.5 hours even, because of the nature of this device and why you'd get something like this. But to get under 3.5 hours and to just watch it just evaporate in front of my eyes is once you establish a battery life baseline and people start buying the phone off of that, you can't have updates that just completely just wipe it back out. I mean, they really need to go back to the drawing board in terms of battery life. I'll tell you something else. I had not had the overheating that a couple people had, but 2 times in just a few days since the update, the top part where the chip is has gotten hot to the touch. And that's through their silicone case here, where I could feel this thing's burning up. And it wasn't doing a whole heck of a lot. So whatever they did with 4.1, OneUI, at least on the Z Flip 3, it's running well on my S22 Ultra. It ran well on my S21, I believe. I think it's on there. But no, it's on the Fold 2. So it's rolling out to different devices. But this is the first one that I've experienced on where battery life has taken a significant hit. And when we're talking about a device that already wasn't starting with a whole heck of a battery life to begin with, that's a problem. That's a problem. So the people who need the battery life the most, and you'd hope would be stretching it with each update, to me it got worse. A whole lot worse. So before I do a factory reset, clean install, and see what we got going on, I want to know what the consensus is out there as far as battery life after the 4.1 update. I understand there's a lot of people that were saying and complaining about how they were sucking wind before the update. I get it, but it's not that type of phone, right? If you were getting 4 hours, you were getting the experience that this phone was given. That was it. You know, I know we'd all like more, but 4 hours is pretty much what this device was doing. But now we're putting, 3.5, but lucky 3.5. More like 2 and change, where you barely get to 3. So that to me is unacceptable. That's a do-over. That's a go home and try it again. And there better be an April update or whenever the next one comes out pretty soon that addresses that. Because you got a couple overheats, which I did not have before that. I know some people experience that. I was not someone who experienced the overheating. And you got a battery life issue, I think, on 4.1. I don't like, and this was a comment back when I was doing the Google Pixel videos. Someone said, well, with every update, you have to do a factory reset. I was like, what? What year is this? No, I don't. I shouldn't have to do a factory reset because it's not as simple as backing this phone up and then restoring from a backup, because that doesn't solve your problems. A lot of times it just ports the problems back over. When you do a full factory reset, if you think that's going to help you with any issues you're having with a phone, you better not back up from anything. Start straight up. Go back into the Play Store, start downloading your apps one by one by one. And if you're telling me I got to do that every month or every time there's an update, I'm just going to return your phone. So I said that about the Pixel 6. I'm going to say it here about the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3. I hope that's not the case. If it is, I'll try it and get back to you. But I want to know what your battery experience has been on 4.1 in the comments section below, because mine has been poor, noticeably worse than 4.0, and a heck of a lot worse than it was at release. And we had within a couple weeks, we were getting 4-ish hours once it learned of screen on time, which was perfect for this device. What you wanted, right? Within the realm of expectation, reality. But now, not so much. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Remember, Long Island Watch as we hit the camera stand, because we're pros. LongIslandWatch.com. Link will be in the description. Until next time, have that Steve-alicious day.